As a hypothetical, if the United States' goal were to take Venezuela's oil by force, the strategy would likely involve a multi-phased approach combining political, military, and economic elements. This type of action would be framed to a domestic and international audience as a necessary intervention for a different reason, such as humanitarian aid or counter-narcotics, which aligns with recent public statements. Hypothetical military and political strategy. Phase 1. Political and economic justification. The United States would likely intensify existing sanctions and diplomatic isolation to further cripple Venezuela's economy and put pressure on the Maduro government. This would create a narrative of a failing state and a humanitarian crisis requiring outside intervention. The large-scale military deployment to the region would be presented as a counter-drug operation to address what the United States has labeled as narco-terrorist activity, providing a plausible legal and moral pretext for a military presence. Phase 2. Pre-invasion buildup and information warfare. The current deployment of naval assets and Marines would be the initial step in a larger military buildup. This would be accompanied by a robust information campaign aimed at undermining the Venezuelan military's morale and encouraging defections. The United States would use diplomatic channels to seek support from neighboring countries like Colombia and Brazil, perhaps offering economic or military incentives for their cooperation, or to at least remain neutral. Phase 3. Seizing key infrastructure. The core of the military operation would be a swift, decisive campaign to seize key oil assets. Special operations forces would likely be deployed to secure vital infrastructure, including the Orinoco oil belt, the refineries on the coast, and major export terminals. The invasion would aim to quickly neutralize Venezuela's air defense systems and naval forces to achieve air and sea superiority. The goal would be to minimize damage to the oil fields themselves to ensure they can be quickly brought back into production. Phase 4. Post-invasion consolidation. Following a successful invasion, the United States would likely install a new, United States-backed government. This government would be tasked with restructuring the state-owned oil company, PDVSA, to direct oil revenues toward reconstruction and to repay international creditors. A significant United States military presence would be required to maintain control, prevent an insurgency, and secure the oil infrastructure from guerrilla attacks. Hypothetical consequences. A forceful takeover would have severe and far-reaching consequences. Global reaction. Such an action would face widespread international condemnation. Countries like China and Russia would likely veto any United Nations Security Council resolution and could even provide military aid to a Venezuelan resistance movement, turning the region into a proxy battleground. Regional instability. Latin American countries, many of whom have a history of resentment toward United States intervention, would likely condemn the action, leading to a breakdown of diplomatic relations and regional alliances. Insurgency. The Venezuelan military, and particularly the armed militias loyal to the government, would likely resort to guerrilla warfare, leading to a prolonged and bloody conflict. The country's dense urban centers and difficult jungle terrain would make a long-term occupation extremely challenging. Economic disruption. While the short-term goal would be to secure oil, the conflict would likely destabilize global oil markets, leading to price spikes and supply disruptions. The long-term costs of a military occupation and civil unrest could easily outweigh the benefits of controlling the oil reserves.